acquainted with through the media, through the art world, and so on. And I met you like 2 years ago by coincidence, first time with Museet, and then I was invited to lots of people of the crowd when you were given this prize.
The grant, yeah.
Yeah, the Bonnier Prize. You were one of the stipends there, and sort of at a nice lunch and so on and so forth. And then, of course, you sent me very nicely the catalogue of Businesswoman. Yeah.
That I brought.
And yes, and this is of course something which is we're very interested to hear all what you're doing, and of course that too. And you are sort of the beginning of the end of this course, so to speak,
okay.
Where we've been speaking about aesthetics, what that is, and how do you enter a world, and what is the atmosphere, and how do you try to understand what goes on, and so on. And we're doing research, and we consider you as doing research in Norway, and so on. So the floor is yours, and just tell us, what will you do?
Yeah, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, as you said, I'm an artist. I'm based in Berlin since 2.5 years. I graduated with a master in art from the Royal Institute of Art in Stockholm in 2012. So, and after that I've been working my ass off in Stockholm, so then I moved to Berlin. And I will start basically where I think, where a process started for me that I'm still in. And this is her. It's, this is 2009, so it's 10 years ago. It's the Businesswoman, she often refers to that. The project I called GTD for SA10. That was Getting Things Done for Satan. What happens here, I'm doing my bachelor, so I'm in the 3rd year. I've been in Stockholm for maybe 5 years. It's not a city that I'm belonging to, it's not this group of people or this class that I'm entering, this kind of art world that I've never been near before. I'm from the north part of Sweden. I kind of grown up in a working class environment. So this, all of a sudden, like I'm going down the street and I'm looking like in the art world, I'm like, this woman, or like this, they are like so powerful, and they are like, I got afraid, this kind of this career, and also in this art world, I have this, I start to get afraid. I started to understand that I'm in an environment that I didn't know, because I just wanted to do stuff, I came into the arts with I just need to do stuff, and I didn't know it was called art in the beginning. So in this bachelor, I'm starting doing this kind of research, and very lame. I just did the research on the politics and like the Yulia Tymoshenko, very well-known Ukraine politician, and how she worked really with her other parents to gain the people's trust. Very folkloric. She had the braids, and I also kind of started to stalk this woman out on the streets in Stockholm. But she was like, this research was just on the wall, or on the text, or in the pictures that I collected. And in the education in the arts, the most kind of very important tutoring you have is that you have like the studio visits with your professors. That's kind of the main setup in an art institution. That's where you kind of get your education and you get the mentorship. I had a guest professor back then, Anja Olofsson. She's a Stockholm-based artist. And she kind of was thinking I was presenting this kind of research-based work, and she was like, yeah, but no. Like, this is, and she looked at me and she looked at the research, and she like, this is so far away from her. Here I see this, I know her, I met her yesterday, we're very well known, we're they're close friends now. So, and she told me afterwards that she felt like this kind of, here I see like a young woman who is real an exhibitionist. She has a lot of energy. She's kind of this crazy punk club kid who really wants to dress. I'm kind of like, I want people to sing on the streets back then. But I see a kind of a research that is like nothing, no energy. So what she says in one sentence, 2009, that was a starting point where I'm still in. She says, what happens if you become her? If you're so if you're so kind of attached or curious about this woman, what happens if you try her clothes? Just trying to be her for a while. Well, like, how is it to go in the high heels? So like, and I just felt like, I don't know if you have that experience sometimes when you're like doing your thinking or writing, that you feel like this gut feeling, like almost that you become a little bit heavier and warm or something, you know, because it felt really right for me. When she said it, like, I felt like I was, it was before I even started to look like her or trying to become her, I felt like it was, I felt this idea that I will get lost. In this process, I will get lost, and that's where I want to be. Like in a creative process, I want to get lost. I don't know where I will end up. That's kind of the goal in the studio, like to disappear in your thoughts. So we can actually go to the so actually, like what I did was to I got a small budget from the school, and it was just this kind of with my idea that I would try to become this utter appearance of this woman that I was afraid of. You know. So for me, it was just like trying to look like her. That was like what I could even think about back then. So it started with, it was not from one day to another that I came out like to the school. I was like, hello, you know, with them all dressed up. It was like, what happens, what is my feelings, my experience to just go around with the pearl earrings. So I did that for a couple of weeks, or a month. And then I cut the hair. But there was still, so what you see here is a kind of I tried to collect picture afterwards that my friends took, like this kind of a development of how I changed my dress. It took, that transform of the clothes were maybe like 3 months. And we can go back to this. So for me it was like, I always talk about this project also. She said like, what happens if you are her for a while? It ended up for 1.5 years, 24/7. With me censoring myself to the point where I don't listen to the music I didn't go to the clubs or like where the places I felt I belonged to. I vacuum packed all my clothing in this industrial vacuum machines. I could borrow it from a pasta guy outside Stockholm who made fresh pasta, and I could shove in my clothes like afterward. And I kind of took away all picture of my family. Like I really try to. I didn't censor myself. Like I just tried to take away everything that I was attached to. So it was. I always talk about, because when people see this, they are like, okay, what are you talking about? You're talking about the art world, the hierarchy in the art world. You're talking about the gender politics, and you're talking. And I'm like, no. I'm just trying to become, like I was like, I don't talk, but I'm just trying to understand, I just want to have this experience of trying to become someone that I'm afraid of. And for me, the only thing I can talk about now afterwards is like more psychological journey. And a lot of don'ts. Like, don't don't try to become an image. Like don't try to become like so you can't speak no more because I didn't get any interest. I didn't give myself another name. I was still Linnea Sjo, but tried to become this. Yeah. So the photos you see here from the two first ones, I worked with photography back then. So this is kind of staged photography. This is when I had my a year in Vienna at the Akademie der Kunst. So this is actually in a showroom that I went by every day in this luxury showroom for designer furnitures. So I came in there one day and like, oh, is it possible that I can take a photo here? They were, yes, this is for an interview. And I work with a photographer. So we basically, I'm sitting in the showroom. If you see, can you see like here, like it's a car? Yeah. So he took the photo from the outside in. Oh. So when you see the printed photo, this is kind of bad. You see like more the details of me actually in this window. Yeah. And the first one was in the studio at school. And I thought this would be art. I thought, now I'm producing these photos that I can show. But when the photos was produced, I'm like, I can't show this because this just make her become nothing. This just make her become easy. Because I can just stage her in a photo like this. This doesn't like, people will not think about like the, so that that's been a problem for me. Back and forth, like how I work, because I cannot say that I work with like performative research, and 99% of that time I can never document into an artwork or anything, you know. It's like, because it's this experience, it's like maybe when I talk to you that she comes alive again, that this becomes an artwork, because I can't talk about her through a photo like this, because she's just staged here. It's flat. And that's why I made this book that came out last year. That is like all the failures and some finished work, but mostly it's just everything that didn't happen and thoughts that are wrong and the chaos thing. I can, you want to have a look right now? I can.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
And this is the test. So it's not the finished book, so it's a lot of like misspells and stuff.
But when you were sitting, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When you were sitting there, this is her.
Yeah. It's me. Yeah, and her. Yeah.
This you her.
Yeah. What?
You her.
Yeah, you her. Yeah.
And you say this is just making it into art is sort of making her not, but she was real because she was you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because I lived like her every day. I tried to maintain her at their parents, and also like to. This becomes a question of when something becomes authentic. You know, if you repeat something over and over again for a longer period of time, does it become authentic? Or like, well, yeah. But I think and that's why I stopped doing photography. And even before. Did you have a? I'm sorry. Just interrupt me if I interrupt you too much. But no. Did you have did you have a private space where you were Linnea only? So you lived when you were sleeping, when you were. I emptied my whole room, like I tried to, I didn't show, I had tattoos back then as well.
So it was not like going in and out of stage? And
no, I tried, and of course sometimes I got like a brag, I went to this, I think it was at this bar or something, and they were so cool, young people there, and I was just, nobody wanted to talk to me, and like, I also got tattoos, you know, because I just flipped my mind. So I was I'm not like a superhuman that just went into this, like I failed, it was a total failure Because all the time was like this error, because it's impossible. But I tried, I was like in this very strict.
She has friends
No.
like her?
No.
No.
You didn't make friends?
No.
Were you well aware of who she was? Was there a point when you were thinking, how do I know she is this person when I'm an actress?
No, I think it was when I had small moments. Like it was often when I met strangers in the street. Like I think she becomes like I was walking on the street, like I was walking in the city a lot, and I think that's when I met the stranger, or when I talked to someone that I felt like now she is she, When I was in environments where I was not familiar to, she came, yeah.
But did you also act her when you met people on the streets?
Yeah, I tried to be her.
Name?
No, that's the problem here. I'm not an actor in that sense. I tried to be Linnea. I was me, Linnea Sjo, who tried to just maintain this utter appearance of this woman, this stereotypical woman that I have an idea of. And I tried to kind of put her onto me. And that becomes the problem here. And also, like, afterwards, you will see, like, the next project, like, it was not interactive. If I had give her a name, some interest, maybe I shouldn't have a studio in the school. I should have, like, rent an office space. And I should do, like, ceramics in the evenings. For therapy. I should do, like, I should have done, like, I should give her hobbies and stuff. I didn't give her anything because this was the first time I worked like this, so I didn't, I couldn't handle her. But like, as an actor, or how to say, I was like stumbling around, like, yeah.
But how did you react to people, if people came onto you to the street?
Yeah?
Did you talk like you talk now, or did you act in some way? Like how did
No,
you
I was
respond
totally
to
different.
people? You were totally different.
Yeah. I
But
think I was more more. I don't know how to. I think I was more proper, and also with the clothes, you stand in different way. You act in And
was that unconsciously or was it conscious?
I think, and this, I can't say this because I kind of get blind in the project, but close friends of mine said, like, when that happened, was like maybe a year in, they thought they were like, okay, this is not so good. Like, this is now something happened, because they saw this started, like, small shift in my behavior changes. It was just a way of talking, or just holding stuff, or being more,
But for your friends, you did, for how long did you do this?
1.5 years.
So in 1.5 years, you were not yourself, you were this woman.
Yeah.
And then also that means that you do not remember.
But who am I?
You were both. But you're saying that I wasn't.
I try to, like, push myself into this woman, and that this is also a question, like, who was I before?
No, what I mean is that when you have a conversation with your friends and family,
Yeah.
she does not know the past.
The past?
The past.
The past. Yes.
Your past. She does not know.
Yes, it is. No,
your
this
past.
is like, and when I met strangers also, and they asked, what are you doing? What are you doing for a living? I would say, I'm an art student, and I'm trying to become this, the utter appearance of this businesswoman. I never lied to anyone.
Okay.
So I was not, I don't know if you can, it's that, I didn't, so when I talked to my friends and my family, it was always like, no, it feels not so right, because I feel kind of stressed, not knowing where she will go, and okay, this is also a thing now. I didn't talk to her in third person back then. I'm doing that now to make it easier for all of us.
Kör
It
på.
was me. Yeah.
Kör på.
Vadå, ska jag köra på?
Du har ju en hand upp, du ska säga
Ja,
något.
men jag vill inte avbryta Linnea.
Ja, vadå? Vill du ha
det? Nej, jag vill, sorry, in
Ja.
English maybe. You said in the beginning that you were afraid of business women, some business women.
Maybe the class,
There was something, I was wondering about if you could say something, what that you were afraid of.
What I was afraid of, yeah. I think I was afraid of, she, also the men, but mostly her, that she was kind of she I kind of understood then what business I had. That I have entered and the art world without knowing how it really works.
Oh, so you did not know the business aspect of it. You're an artist, but you're not a business person. So that's what you're scared of.
No. Let me like that. Going to the pre-art school, just being creating, doing what you want, be in your head, going in, and then you go to the academy and you're doing your stuff, and then all of a sudden, when I kind of wake up from that, because you're working so hard for so many years, and you look around and you see, okay, this is the world. This is the art world that I'm going to work with for the rest of my life, and I'm going to work with this kind of people. And I don't know, I can't hardly talk to them because we are from two different worlds in the beginning, like upper class, and I can't, it was kind of a shock for me to all of a sudden when I start to actually look around to understand, okay, is this the world I'm going to be in? When it comes to my work, I was very naive, and in my naivety and waking up from that and get totally stressed, instead of run away, I was like, okay, let's try to become her. Like, what happens? If I'm so afraid of her and so critical about this system, I become this white woman. That I don't know, and I know and also, yeah. So it was just kind of an act of panic.
Are you afraid of her now?
Now I'm maybe afraid of myself that I'm her. I'm her. But I didn't know about it. I had become her. Because I'm white.
Have you become her, or did you realize?
I have become her,
she was...
but I didn't know that. I kind of got like that. I kind of understood that lately. That I have like a really strong. I like if you're growing up in a certain environment, and I have a like where my family is from. I had an idea that I'm that, but I'm not. I have done my own class, like.
Klassresa, trajectory.
And I look like this. I have the blue eyes. I have the right name. I can speak like this. I'm invited, and I know this network of people. I'm her now.
So she was.
And I didn't. That's kind of because I don't feel like that, but I need to understand that people see me like that.
I don't think people look at.
You can read an article that came up 2 weeks ago, and you will.
Yeah, but when I read
that they basically say I'm that.
Yeah, but I don't see that woman. But yeah, you probably had I don't know you that at all, but probably had the business acumen that you didn't realize you actually had that business sense. But in the beginning, it was probably scary.
Yeah, and then it's 10 years later, and you go in. Yeah, you're in the system, and you say yes. Yeah, you. Yeah.
So businesswoman is.
Yes, and a reflection to this, because is that imagine that the PhD student that you're trying to approach the academy. So I mean, this is an applicable experience in some ways of what is it to be a researcher. I mean, meeting researchers could be frightening for a lot of people because they think that, oh, this is a researcher, this is a very knowledgeable person, and what do they do? I don't know. I think your experience is a little bit applicable in different contexts also, and especially when it comes to the academia, I mean, definitely.
But this, what you did, and tells a lot also about the circle you are trying to be part of.
Yeah.
Also, that it's Because maybe you had reasons to be.
As I said, I was afraid of
Yeah.
this, where all of a sudden I was becoming part of,
Yeah.
and in an act, I just tried to become like the very stereotypical idea of
Yeah.
this environment. Yeah.
That's what I mean, that maybe you
Yeah.
had reasons to be afraid. I
Yeah.
mean that these reasons were real. I mean that this circle has certain
Yeah,
ways of
course.
functioning
Yeah.
and all this, you know. And this, yeah.
Do you, like now you don't dress up like her, I guess, or you don't act like her, but do you feel that the way you used to talk to people when you were enacting her, that has somehow now naturally comes to you in some ways?
I think she's there.
She's there?
Of course, it's like 1.5 year and also that 1.5 year that I got more respect. To get that experience that I came with money, that I get another service. People concentrated on me more and like focused on me and like thought I had something important to to have that experience. But also like in that I got it was very complex. But of course it's like yeah.
It would be nice to hear your thoughts again. Come back to the idea of authenticity and personhood.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my tiny experience of having tried to become something particular, I realized that I became a hyper version of this thing.
Yeah.
I did much more of.
Yeah.
I tried to kind of appropriate much more than who knows. I mean, this is a counterfactual, but I had the impression that. So, did you? Because of course, every individual is a hybrid person. Being a businesswoman, being
you are several people, yeah. Sure.
Exactly. And so, have you kind of have you had? I'm not sure what my question is. Did you become like a hyper person or a hybrid person?
Hyper. Look at her.
Hyper being like
extreme because my only reference was like this kind of just this get the images of a businesswoman that was like so I didn't give her anything else to like very flat.
Okay.
Very flat, So this should okay.
Did you try to emerge into a real person or a imaginary construct of a get the images persona type of?
I think back then I didn't even reflect on that. I just tried to become the after appearance of her, and then I understood during the process that I didn't have the tools to start to act with her. I couldn't like take the next step with her, because I think I needed, back then I think I would needed like more support or somebody just sat me down and like, okay, but maybe you can, if we give her a name, if you give her like that she becomes more a character from the beginning. And I also like, why didn't I just get a job with her, but as I said, this is like my bachelor and master project, so it's hard to talk about, I can't really talk about it as a great successful work. It's like, for me, it's more like the base of how I like to do a research or come close to an idea that I like, or how to come near a subject that I want to understand. So
but if you want to get in, usually the thing is to try to hang out with people that come from this group.
Yeah.
But that's not what you did.
No,
So,
a little bit, but I couldn't. I was so stressed to just being her. I could for me it was just trying to be someone that I was so afraid of. That's what I said in the beginning, that for me this was more a psychological journey. It was not me penetrating a group of people that I wanted to belong to. It was more like very much about me.
but maybe it's an illusion to try to penetrate a group of people. I mean, maybe those who try, or we think try, are actually also in that.
It would be so much fun acting like her, and then also going to meetings and acting out, but
Yeah.
get to see how people react. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said, the attitudes changed, and you felt you got more respect because people thought you had more money or something to offer, something more to offer. But I was wondering, did your work, did you feel like your work was taken more seriously when you were meeker?
No, because I stopped working.
Okay.
Because I were not interested to produce anything in this school. Like like what you see here this is just like test photos, but it's just me trying what happens if I installed my old artworks in like this kind of slick offices. So it's just me borrowing like offices around town and installing my artwork in them and take a photo of them again, because I wanted to just kind of destroy I wanted to like how I don't know.
But you could have become an influencer, maybe, or I mean, you could have got your thing on Facebook or and post that kind of. But that was not the fashion at that time.
No, it wasn't. No,
and
no,
it
that could,
didn't
because this is a lot about image production. Yeah. And that what happens in the next project, maybe more how it develops through social media, like in a character. Yeah. Yeah.
Another question. So you said something about all the time you felt that it was a total failure.
Yeah.
Because that kind of resonated with an idea that aren't we? So when you've taught her somehow, do you feel? Is there a connection, is there a similarity in your constant feeling of failure to become her, and how we can ourselves feel constantly that we are
A failure
in being ourselves? I mean, is it like...
Yeah, no, what I meant with that, I think, was more because the idea from the beginning is motsägelsefull.
Contradictory.
Yeah. So that's always a failure, because I will never become her like this. I can never become her.
But can we ever become ourselves?
Yeah.
The thing is, I know Linnea prepared 50 slides for us. And she's so free.
Maybe
so I mean, you are free, but I just wanted to, I know you have so much also to
yeah, maybe I can show more and then
yes,
like,
I think that would be
yeah.
a good idea, because we have so many questions, and I mean, I hope you feel our interest in your work.
Yeah.
I think we also do, because you have so much experience.
So,
yes.
Did she die, or did she?
Yeah, let her speak.
Did she die?
but you will see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
You will see the free fall. Okay, but this is how, now I will show you some work that I did afterwards. Like what happens with her, that she was a very easy character to use in the media for other journalists and press. So I got often interviewed in different magazines, the before and after, It's like how easy it can't be more easier to write about and use me as an illustration for something. So this is for a campus magazine that they talk about how to dress right in work. I don't know if this was that or it was another one, but that was one. Yeah, I have several. What I did was I collected these articles, saved them, and then in this I framed them. And then I use this blaster machine, like sanding the glass where the text are. So you can't really read the text. No, this is not good. Okay. So this is actually a framed article. So what you can see here, I have blessed the glass. So you can't read the text. The only thing you can see is the images of me. So that was just a way for me to like take myself back from this idea that people put upon me. So that's one test I did. This is like how I try to work with all the materials that comes out from an artwork, or from the process. I also started to collect like Hermès scarf during that time. She wanted nice stuff. And I decided to just use the format of the scarf, and also how the Hermès brand had used the scarf to tell their story their brand during the years. They have, if you look in the Hermes scarf, you see the horses, you see the horse equipment sometimes because they're from this leather company in the beginning. You can also see in another scarf, you can see who will wear this scarf. It's this woman or the luxurious. So what I try to do, I used these silk scarves, this format to talk about my story, or like the items I have around me during as the businesswoman. So this is what I showed in my master. So this is what I Peter opponerade.
Defended.
No.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is 2 like silk scarves. Yeah, 2 or 4. And yeah, now I'm starting to get into the next project. But did you have any more questions? Or should I
The
just...
transition, of course, is
Yeah.
how do you go from?
Like what I did was actually kind of mentally got what's that? Exhausted.
Being her.
Yeah, because I didn't like, if I had give her more space or more like a character like what she wanted to do, maybe I could have developed her for a longer period of time.
She should have been accepted at Handelshögskolan.
Yes.
She might have.
But also maybe exhausted because it was hard for you to connect her to you. I mean.
Yeah, it was just this fast image.
Such an opposite. So trying to be grounded in something that is so
Yeah.
far.
And also from the school, it was time for me to write my essay.
Mm.
It was time for me to actually become objective in my work. It was impossible for me to just all being in my research, being that and starting to write about it was impossible. So I decided one day or 2 that now it's over. What happens is kind of a crazy free fall. It was like, I can't really describe it, but it felt like I didn't know if I slept that summer. You know, I didn't know. Because like I got untangled from this really narrow character, and it was kind of hard. Yeah.
And you were alone all the time, or you had buddies, friends coming
Now
in?
then I started to collect a lot of new friends that didn't want to think
But
about tomorrow.